What is up guys, my name is Rohin. Today I'm going to be showing you how to sync and flow your Valorant montages, so let's get into it. Before I begin, if you're a beginner to After Effects, I recommend you watch my beginner tutorials. There's a link for them in the description, or you can click the card in the top right. And without further ado, let's get into it. The first thing you want to do is you want to import your music, and you basically want to find the point that you want to sync to. And as you can see, this is a good part to sync to, so this is what I'm going to be doing. So you want to select your clip, and then using the asterisk key on your keyboard, which if you don't know is like the star on your numpad, the little star icon. If you don't have a numpad, go to edit, keyboard shortcuts, and then you can change the keybind of it. So what I'm going to do first though is I'm just going to play the video, and every time there's a beat drop, I'm just going to click the asterisk key on my keyboard. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, if you're struggling to mark out basically your clips, you can go to this arrow here on your audio, expand this arrow on audio, then go to waveform, and you can basically see the waveform of your entire song, and which is basically the ups and downs of your song on where it's more intense and least intense. And a few rules that I use for my time remapping. I do my time remapping quite unique, and it may not be your style. You can see the style of how I time remap in the intro. If that's the look you want, you can follow on with the tutorial. So how I like to do my time remap is I like to have a kill, something happen, and then a kill again. Also, I like to add a lot of pan, crop, and shake, and I'm going to be showing you how I do all of those, like 3 or 4 major things now. So let's get into it. So the first thing I do is I make sure I edit on 24 FPS, simply because it just looks smoother in my opinion. Not smoother, but like, I don't know, the vibe of it just kind of matches a lot more, and it also speeds up your After Effects in general, and you can do a bunch of other things. So I recommend you edit in 24 FPS if you're doing proper edits. If you're doing like highlight montages and stuff, just keep this at like 60, it'll be fine. So on the first marker, I'm just going to drag my clip until I see the first kill, which is around here. I'm going to color it using Ctrl Shift and D, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to my next marker, and I'm just going to play it so I understand what I really want to happen on this type of beat. What I'm going to do for this type of beat is I want the jet to move, so I'm just going to drag it along until the jet moves in a location. Around like here. So I want the jet to start moving from about here, so I think I'll start it in the smoke. Just Ctrl Shift D to cut it there, and then she'll start moving around here, which is where the next beat drop will happen. So I'm going to cut this clip again and then drag it to where the kill happens, around here. And what I'm going to do, instead of to the kill, I'm going to do to the sheriff this time. And as you can see, there's a dun dun. On the second dun, I'm going to make it the kill there. So I just marked out the second dun on the song, and then what I'm going to do on this dun, I'm basically going to find the bit where you actually gets the kill, which is here, and then call it and delete this bit. And then on this marker here, what I'm going to do, Ctrl Shift D to cut again, then I'm going to go to this kill, call it, delete that bit. And then go to the next marker, select the clip, Ctrl Shift T to cut it, and then this time I'm going to do it to the shot again. Ctrl Shift T, cut this bit, and again there's a second done, so I'm going to just mark that out. And then Ctrl Shift D, just delete this. And then now that we've done that, we have basically all of our kills synced. So if you watch this back now, so as you can see, our clips are synced. However, there's not much flow and it's quite overall linear. So to basically fix that, one thing I'm actually going to do though before we add that is I want there to be a bit at the beginning, like a build up, because it just goes straight to the kill, which I don't really like. So I'm going to basically also mark a beat drop before this first marker here. So I want the clip to maybe start around here. So I want some, again, as I said before, I want movement to happen and then the kill. So I'm just going to find a place where, I don't know, the sheriff reloads or equips or something like that. Yeah, here we go, this is perfect. I'm just going to call it on where it reloads, and then on the next marker, just call it here. If the reload animation doesn't end, don't worry, we're just going to fix it later with time remapping. And also I want to do something at the end, because if it just ends on a kill, sometimes it doesn't look that good. So I'm just going to make a marker in the middle of these two, really quick. Around here. Actually, probably around here. And I'm just going to call it to basically where it reloads. Around here. And I'm gonna finally call it on the last B, and that will basically be where the clip ends and it goes into a new clip or whatever. Alright, so now what I'm gonna do is I want to enable something called time remapping. So to enable time remapping, you just want to click on the clip you want to enable time remapping for, and you want to click Ctrl-Alt-T, and then this will bring up this window here. And these dots here, there's something called keyframes. If you don't know what these are, basically they allow us to change values of individual points within our video. So as you can see here, we wanted the reload animation to be here, however it's not fully done. So if it's not fully done, or it's a bit too late or before, what you can do, come over to this like a value here, right at the end of your clip, just one frame before your clip. And then you want to drag this until the reload animation is done. So probably about here, like this. And then you want to select all of these keyframes, and then click F9, and click this button here, and also take you into the graph editor. Once you're on here, just click on the square and drag this little circle point up, and drag this point down. And as you can see, it's a lot more flowed. And I'm going to basically show what highlighting these keyframes F9 did now. So when you highlight these keyframes and click F9, it basically allows you to change the speed or how it goes into the second value. So this is one value here, and this is the other value, and it basically allows you to change on how it transitions to this value. And the way we change that is in the graph editor. So if you select these keyframes and go into the graph editor, you'll see a graph like this here. If you don't see a graph like this, just right click and make sure you're on edit value graph. If you're on speed graph, it'll look like that, it won't look good. Make sure you're on edit value graph. And what we're doing by clicking this and moving this arrow is we're telling After Effects to speed up, slow down, and then speed up again, which creates like good flow. And we're going to do that for basically all of our clips. So Ctrl-Alt-T. Going to make a keyframe on the kill, and then at the end of the kill, what I like to do is I like to go back until the sheriff has just dropped on the floor. So as you can see, when it shoots, it's pretty high up in the air, and I want it to make sure the last keyframe is where it's just resting in its normal position. This is for only sheriff kills anyway. Highlight these, click F9, and go into the graph editor. And you want to do the exact same thing. If I just zoom in here using this key here, I'll be able to get that visualization of the graph. And what I like to do is in the middle of the everything happening here, try and adjust the graph until the sheriff is highest in the air, so it slows down really high. Something like this. And also don't drag your graph too like this, otherwise what will happen is the value will come back down, meaning the sheriff kill will kind of reverse like this. You can see how it kind of reverses, so make sure your graph doesn't loop back down to a previous position, otherwise when it's down here it will go and play from this time, so we don't want to do that. And also to fix if it's stuttering or lagging, what we can do is you just want to go over to your clip, and on this first box here just double click and it will enable something called pixel motion frame blending, which will basically make your clip smoother, and it will take a bit of time to render. So if I just play this here, and then now I'm going to head on to the next clip, Control T, going to make a keyframe here, going to make it start around here, the end is here, and I want to drag it back because this little bit of clip here is just going to be movement, and I want to make the keyframe just so it comes out the smoke a little bit, like here. Again, go in graph editor, F9, and do the exact same thing. And then I'm just going to enable pixel motion frame blending again by clicking that box. And also, if you have pixel motion frame blending, sometimes what it does is it distorts the image a lot, like a lot. So to fix that, you can try and make your graph like less kind of steep. So if I go back in the graph editor, I'm just going to try and make it a bit less steep. Or what I can do, I'm just going to adjust this last value so it's a bit more forward. So that way it's less in the smoke, and I'm going to make it, readjust it. There we go. So now as you can see, a lot of the frame blending kind of visual effect has been lost, which is good. And then this clip is meant to be the first shot, so what I'm going to do, Control T to time remap, make a keyframe when the shot happens, and at the end of the clip, actually that's pretty much perfect, that is when he just doesn't make the second shot, so right here. And then select all of these, F9, go in the graph editor, do the same thing. I'm going to go in the middle to make sure the sheriff is in its highest possible point, roughly. Like here. Control T, and this time I'm going to do the same thing. Make a keyframe here. Highlight the keyframe to F9, go to the graph editor. You kind of get it by now on what you have to do. Also, this is quite an advanced seek and flow tutorial, so if you are struggling, I have another one which is basically a lot more basic for beginners. I recommend you watch that first before trying this method, because it's quite hard and method to do. So definitely go check that out. You can click the card in the top right, or it'll be linked in the description. Okay, so now also I need to enable pixel motion frame blending for these layers, so let me just do that. I might as well enable it for all the layers while I'm here. Keep on doing the same thing. Also, make sure your keyframe isn't all the way at the end of your clip by a frame, otherwise if it is, you notice if I change this value here, nothing will happen. So make sure you're 1 frame before. Go in the graph editor, do the same thing in the middle. If you select this whole graph, you can see exactly where the middle is. There'll be like a little circle there. If you're not taking the sheriff kills, I recommend basically trying to make sure the middle is most basically where you can see all this blood here. If I go in full resolution, you can see it better because it kind of looks really cool. Oops, make sure you don't do that. And if you want to hide all of these keyframes, you can just deselect all the clips and click U, and it will hide all of them. And I actually kind of want to decide that this reload animation starts here, so I'll just move over here, delete this section of the clip, and then if I click U to bring my keyframes up for this clip, I'm just going to drag the keyframe back to where it was. And if I go in the graph editor, I'm just going to fix the graph, because when you move keyframes or change keyframe values, the graph gets messed up, so you kind of have to redo it again. Again, let me go in the middle, make sure everything looks good. And then I'll make this last reload animation end like here, because why not? And then Control T. And then if I go in the graph editor, F9, and I just drag this up again. You can see that kind of looks really cool in my opinion. It just slows down on the reload. I'm just going to bring it a bit forward to where he pulls it out normally over here. I just want to test out what that looks like. Don't be afraid to experiment. And I'm going to make the graph probably a bit steeper, because I think it's a bit too fast in the middle. And I think that looks good. If I just play everything now. As you can see, that time remapping is all done. And honestly, I think it looks good. I could make it a bit better, but this is just a short tutorial, so for now I'm just going to leave it. It's fine. Next thing I'm going to be telling you to do and how to do is pan crop. So let's get into that. Pan crop is basically kind of zooming out and in of your clips. So to do this, just click on your highest clip, click Ctrl Alt Y to make an adjustment layer, and if you just click enter on the adjustment layer, and you could just rename it. I'm just going to call it pan crop. And then the effect you want to add is called transform. If you don't have this plugin here, you can just go to effects and presets and search for transform and drag it onto your clip. If I can just use transform and it will apply like that. And the way I do my pan crop is I go to the very beginning of my clip, and you just want to keyframe the scale here. And then what I like to do, with my adjustment layer selected, I move the timeline, and each cut I make a marker, just using the same method we used to make the marker on the music. And now as you can see, I've mocked everything up. I just need to do this bit here. And if I click U, make sure you've keyframe scale, you can see we have the keyframes for the pan crop. And I'm going to go to the first kill here. And what I like to do is I like to set the scale anywhere from 110 to 140 on kills. This is quite a big beat drop, so I think I'll do 135 or something. And then on the next marker, I normally like to zoom out because there's not really any kill happening. And then on this shot here, this is not actually the kill, but it's still some sort of impact. So I like to zoom it in, I don't know, something like 110. And because this is actual kill now, I'm going to zoom in. So it's kind of like focused on the gun, because this gun, the sheriff, kind of looks really cool. And then we have the omen kill here. And I know on kills you normally want to zoom in, but because they're so far like close to each other, I'm just going to zoom out just like to 110, not all the way back. And then on this jet here, I'm going to zoom out just to 100, so you can kind of see where the jet is coming from. And then when the jet actually gets killed, I'm going to zoom in quite a bit, so things like 115, let's just say. And with pan crop, it's quite hard to master at first, so you just want to really experiment. And then on the next clip, which is the reload animation, what I like to do is you want to see like the full reload animation. So I don't know, I'll go to 105, and then on this next marker here, I'm just going to put 100. And now if we watch this back, the pan crop, it looks like really linear and doesn't really look good. So to fix that, what you can do is you can highlight all of them again. I'm going to highlight all your keyframes and click F9 to go in graph editor. So once you highlight your keyframes and go into the graph editor, you'll see your graph is a bit more complicated, but don't worry, this graph is like quite easy, simple to use, not that hard. What I like to do for my pan crop, obviously depending on what happens, is I like to click on the square here and I like to make it really slow. So drag it all the way to the right and then really fast. So as you can see, the curve will kind of slow down and then speed up quite a lot. And then on the kills, I like to make my pan crop slow and then fast, so like this, and then slow here and then fast. And I normally just do slow and fast a lot. However, sometimes I don't know, when there's a really big impact like this, what I like to do is I make it fast into the big kind of impact, and then I make it go fast out of the impact, so you kind of have like a bounce effect like this. You can see how it kind of bounces when it gets killed. For this clip, I don't think it looks that good, so I'm just gonna go back to slow and then speed up. I'm just gonna keep on slowing and speeding up my graph like this. I'm just rushing this. You should take a lot more time when doing this, but as long as it looks decent, it's fine. I'm gonna play this now. I think sometimes the pan crop isn't as intense as I'd like it to be, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make it a bit more intense, something like this. Just change the values so they look good. And make sure you always adjust the graph whenever you change the values on the keyframe, otherwise your graph gets really, really messed up, like mine just did. And if we play this now, as you can see now, the pan crop has made it look a lot more better. And the last thing we're going to be adding is shakes. And to do this, you'll need the Sapphire plugin. If you don't have it, I'll leave a download link in the description to where you can buy it. And to do this, what I'm going to do, just click Ctrl-Y to make an adjustment layer. And what I like to do, for every, if not a kill is happening on every cut, I normally add a shake on basically every cut of a clip, right? However, if a cut, nothing is really happening, for example, this cut here, there's not a kill, I normally add to like this shake. So the shake you want to add if nothing's really happening is the shake here. I'll leave a download link in the description. To use it, click on your adjustment layer, go to animation, apply animation preset, and then you just want to find where you located it, and you want to use one-way shake. And then what you want to do, you want to click U, and where the keyframe starts, you just want to cut your adjustment layer, just delete this bit. And then where your shake ends roughly, like it ends roughly here, I'm just going to delete this bit. And I'm just going to rename the adjustment layer shake. Oops, don't delete it. And then when nothing really happens, so for example, this is a kill, we're going to put a different shake there in a minute. That's fine. And then this cut here, there's not really a kill, so I'm just going to put this shake here. This here, there's not really a kill, but there's a shot, so I'm going to probably put the same shake here. And then on this cut here, again, I'm going to put a different shake. This cut here, I'm going to put a different shake. This cut here, I'll put this shake here because it's not really a kill. This cut here, I'll put a shake because this is the reload. And now the other shake you want to use on kills is, as you guys can guess, the 2 kill shake. So just click Ctrl-Y to make an adjustment layer, animation, apply animation preset, and 2-way shake this time. And again, just color it here, and then where the last keyframe is, just color it. I'm just going to call this one kill shake. And then now on the shakes where there's basically kills, which is here, I'm going to put that shake there. And what you want to do with the shakes, make sure you change the seed each time the shake happens, which will basically change the variation in the shake. Otherwise, it might look quite repetitive. The shakes will look quite repetitive, so just make sure you change the seed of each shake. I'm going to change the seed. Whoops. So now if I play this back with the shakes, it adds quite a lot. As you can see, that looks really good. And I'm just going to do a few touches here. I mean, the kills on the jet, I don't think the pan crop was that good. So I'm just going to improve that pan crop real quick. So maybe I'll make it zoom out this time and then zoom in a lot like this. And then if I go into graph editor, and this time we'll just fix my graph. So I think that looks pretty good. Maybe this isn't your taste of editing style, however I really quite like it. I think the pan crop on the Euro is a bit intense, so I'm just going to lower it. Actually no, I think we can leave it. But this time when I go in the graph editor, what I'm going to do is we're just going to make it bounce like that. There we go. So now it kind of does that bounce effect I showed you before. It zooms in, then it zooms out really quickly. So basically, this is basically what we made in this tutorial. Overall, I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to show you what we made now.